All right, let's talk about something incredible. It's the unsung hero of your entire digital life. A piece of your computer so fundamental you use it every single second, but you never ever actually see it. We're talking about the file system.
No, I mean, really, stop and think about it for a second. You hit save, you give your file a name, and poof, it's just there. A week later, a year later, it's sitting right where you left it. It feels totally like magic, but what's actually going on under the hood?
Well, it turns out, every single time you save, open, or delete a file, you're not just clicking a button. You're actually giving an order to this master digital librarian. This librarian is the file system, and its entire reason for being is to manage your digital world with absolute perfect precision. Okay, so what is this librarian's main gig? What does it do all day? In a nutshell, it prevents total, absolute chaos. I mean, without it, your computer's storage would just be a completely meaningless, unusable mess of ones and zeros.
Basically, the file system is the operating system's go-to data manager. It takes on all the messy, complicated, low-level jobs of storing and finding information, and it transforms all that digital noise into the neat, tidy files and folders that you and I use every single day.
So you gotta wonder, how does our librarian keep track of everything? Well, just like a real-world library, it uses a kind of MasterCard catalog. This is the part you actually interact with, the user-friendly layer that helps you find exactly what you're looking for. And it does it in an instant.
And in this library of ours, every single document, every picture, every song, every app, you can think of them as books. We just happen to call them files. They're the basic building block of storage, the very things our librarian is designed to organize.
And here's where it gets really cool. Each one of these books has its own library card. We call these attributes, and they tell the librarian everything it needs to know. You know, the file's name, what type of file it is, how big it is, its exact location on the shelf, and even the precise second it was last opened or changed. So this is literally the step-by-step map the librarian uses to grab a specific book. Most systems use what's called a tree structure, which is just like walking through a physical library. You start at the main entrance, the root, you walk through different sections or folders, and boom, you arrive at your document. That path is exactly what you're seeing when you look at a file location on your computer. All right, so we get how the librarian finds the books, right? But what about shelving them in the first place? How does it decide where to put them? This is where the real hidden genius of the file system really shines. Well, our librarian has a couple of main strategies up its sleeve. The first is called contiguous allocation. Think of it like this. All the pages of a book have to sit together in one big, continuous block. It's super fast to read, but man, finding a big enough empty shelf can be really hard. The other strategy is linked allocation. Here, the pages can be scattered all over the library. Page 1 just has a little note that points to where page 2 is, and so on. It's way more flexible, but reading the whole book is kind of like going on a treasure hunt. Modern systems actually use really clever hybrids to get the best of both worlds. Of course, to shelve new books, the librarian has to know where the empty spots are, right? So it might use what's called a bit vector, which is basically a giant checklist of every single available spot. It's really fast. Or it could use a linked list, a chain of notes where each empty spot just points to where the next one is. Both ways work. They just make different trade-offs between speed and efficiency. You know when you plug in a new hard drive? It's pretty much like building a brand new, totally empty wing for the library. Before it can be used, the librarian has to partition it, which means dividing it up into sections, and then mount it. Mounting is what officially opens that new wing and connects it to the main library so its shelves can finally be used for books. But hold on, our digital librarian isn't just an organizer. Oh no, it's also a top-notch security guard. Its job is to make sure only the right people can access the right books and that nobody can just come in and start messing with the library itself. The goal here is super simple, but absolutely critical. Keep users from messing with each other's files and stop any single program from being able to wreck the entire system. It's all governed by one golden rule, the principle of least privilege. Basically, you only get the keys to the rooms you absolutely need to be in and not a single key more. The easiest way to picture this is with rings of trust. Right there in the center, you have the kernel. That's our head librarian. It has the master key. It can go anywhere and do anything. Then on the outer ring, you have all your apps, the library patrons. They have very limited access, and for pretty much anything important, they have to go and ask the head librarian for permission first. So how does the librarian actually enforce all this? How does it grant permission? With a master list called an access matrix. It's really just a simple grid that lays out with perfect clarity who can do what with each file. This isn't just about being tidy, it's a huge security feature. It means Alice can read and write the secret budget, but Bob, he can only read the general report, and he is totally blocked from even seeing the budget. It's just a clear, powerful way to keep our data safe. So yeah, the next time you save a photo or open a document, just take a second. Appreciate the incredible, silent, and tireless work being done in the background. The file system truly is the essential, invisible partner in literally everything we do with technology. So we've got a pretty good handle on the librarian working inside our own machine, right? But here's the thought. As more and more of our data moves into these massive global libraries we call the cloud, it raises a really big question. Who's the librarian there? And maybe more importantly, what are their rules for managing and protecting our information? Definitely something to think about.